Hello there guys, you're listening to Ebird Online and I'm back with another review. So today I'm going to give you another review from 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After Season 5, and today I'm going to be reviewing Colt and Jessica. Thank you to everybody who's subscribed to me so far. Thank you so much for all of the support, and if you haven't done so, just click that red button and join the Ebird family. And also don't forget to smash the like button if you like the video. So we catch up with Colt and Jess in the hotel and they're post-coital, and Colt brings Jessica some breakfast. And Colt tells her she was very upset last night because remember, he told her that he wasn't going to say anything to his mum about her, but apparently she managed to calm down when they got back to the hotel, and he said they had a great night and we had sex. So you didn't make love then. How chivalrous you are, Colt. And as this couple are sitting in the hotel room eating breakfast, I can't help but notice that Jessica has somewhat of a long face. But Colt didn't seem to notice because he said chirpily, "What do you want to do today?" And oh my god, it was so funny. Jessica ignored the entire question. And she looked at him and said, "When will you tell your mum about us?" And Colt said, "I don't know." And she went, "You don't know?" And he said, "Well, I'm really worried that my mum will think it's too soon to date another Brazilian girl." Oh Colt, if we finally arrive at the end of all time, it will be too soon in Debbie Downer's eyes for you to date another Brazilian. Take my word for that. And so they decide to go out sightseeing around Chicago. And as they're walking along the street chatting, they decide to go on a river taxi. And Colt decided to take his opportunity and find out a little bit more about Jess's background. And you can tell he's a pro, guys. He got every bit of information he needed. He said, "How many guys have you gone out with since you've been in Chicago?" And she went, 6 or 7. And he said, 6 or 7? You've only been here 6 months. Colt, you only need 6 or 7 days to have 6 or 7 dates. She's been here 6 months, so there's been more than enough time. And so Colt thought he was being clever by saying American dates or Brazilian dates. And Jessica knew very well what he was talking about, but she decided to play dumb, and he ended up having to say, you said that Brazilian dates they have sex on the first dates and American dates they don't. So which was it? Brazilian dates or American dates? And Jess just laughed and said, "I don't know." Jessica, you do know. And the Ebird takes it that they were Brazilian dates. And then yet again, Jessica said to Colt, "Well, I really like sex and you really like sex, so I think we're a good match." And it started to get me wondering, why are you consistently just banging on about sex? And it's almost as if she's got an ulterior motive. And next up it was Jess's turn. She decided to ask Colt what happened with Larissa. And in his confessional, Colt said, "Jess doesn't know an awful lot about Larissa." Really, Colt? And in this day and age, I can't believe that Jessica has no access to the internet at all. Those Brazilians are so far behind. Colt, of course she knows. She knows everything about Larissa. And that's why Jessica slid into your DMs. And he sort of said, "Well, Larissa and I weren't compatible." And she said, "Really? I don't understand why not. Brazilian girls like sex. You like sex." And he said, "Larissa didn't really like sex." And she said, "Oh, really? Oh, that's strange. I don't believe it. Not a Brazilian girl." Finally, the penny drops, and I may be barking up the wrong tree here, but I understand from what Colt's saying, he didn't get enough sex from Larissa. Obviously, this Jessica has now watched the past seasons or has read up on the internet about the relationship, and she knows very well this is a deal breaker for Colt, so she's been very sexually forward, unnecessarily and unreasonably sexually forward, because she knows it plays into his narrative of, "I want someone completely and always sexually available." And as the seconds tick by, I'm more and more convinced that this is just the green card for her. And I think the saddest thing about it all is, Colt, you've already got caught on this same scam, literally one relationship ago. So how in God's name are you getting caught on completely the same scam again? And then Colt decides to tell her about the domestic violence. And I could kind of tell as he was telling her, he seemed slightly embarrassed and quite reticent to say the story. And for what it's worth, he shouldn't be embarrassed, Larissa should be embarrassed. And it's a very interesting show of character that she's not. But having said that, obviously I've yet to go back and look at the old seasons, so I'm assuming that it is as presented and she's the protagonist. But I definitely think the way that Colt had to say it and how embarrassed he felt, there are definite double standards that need to be addressed. I feel like if it was the other way round, there'd be a massive outcry. But Colt finishes things off by saying, Larissa just wanted to come to America, she wanted the American dream, and she just wants to live her life. And Jess was quite sweet at this point and she said, "I'm so sorry that happened to you." And she didn't judge him and she seemed somewhat supportive. And so next time we meet up with these guys, it's Colt's final night in Chicago and he's meeting up with Jess and a group of her Brazilian friends. And he tells us he really wants them to like him. "Oh Colt, even though we all know you've got an uphill struggle, put your best foot forward. Go on Colt, we're all behind you, we're rooting for you." And Jessica piles on the pressure. She says to us, "My friends are so important to me, I really want them to like Cole and to get on with him." And I wondered to myself, just how important are they? Remember, you've only been here 6 months, so the longest that you've known any of these girls is 6 months. So they all sit down outside a bar and they're having cocktails and just generally chit-chatting. And they ask Colt, where are you from? And he says, Las Vegas. And they're all like, woo! And guys, I used to think exactly the same thing about Las Vegas. I've never been, and so I just imagine Caesar's Palace and all the casinos and amazing restaurants and high rollers. But then along plodded 90 Day Fiance. They gave us Yo-Yo. They gave us David, and then they gave us Colt, and they chucked Debbie in for good measure. And it's managed to beat all the excitement that I felt for Las Vegas right out of me. And so one of Jess's friends says, do you live with roommates? And he says, no, I don't. I actually live with my mum. And they all look at each other and you can tell they're not impressed. And she actually says, since he's 34, it's kind of weird that he still lives with his mum. And then Jess lets her friends know that Colt hasn't even mentioned her to his mum, Debbie. And they all say, but why not? That's really out of order. And he said, well, it's just at the start of the relationship. I want to be more sure before I tell my mum anything. And you can tell they're generally not impressed. And the whole time the conversation's going on, Colt looks quite ill at ease and quite nervous. Definitely more so than a man of his age should be. And then Jessica tells her friends of a girl called Vanessa who rings Colt all the time. And you can tell that Jessica is irritated by this, and we go to a confessional of Colt talking, and Colt just says, well, it's a very good friend of mine and we met online and she supported me through my relationship when it was breaking down with Larissa. And I wonder what sort of support that was. And he says, Jessica wants me to stop speaking to her, so I've told Jessica that I won't speak to her anymore, but I'm going to continue my relationship. And he confessed, I know it's wrong to lie, but what can I do? What you can do is say, Jessica, just to allay your fears, when you come to Las Vegas, you can meet Vanessa, nothing's going on. That's what you can do. But then that would be too simple, wouldn't it? And as the seconds go by, my picture of Colt is getting clearer and clearer. And the girls asked Jess, where did she meet him? And Jess said they met at the gym. And then a friend looked him up and down and said, since when did he go to the gym? What? Rude but true. And we kind of know that not to be true, because he said he met her online, and also we saw he's got his own little gym in his garage. Who needs to go to the gym when you've got 15 kilo dumbbells just moments away? And then the girls say, what are you guys planning tonight? We have an amazing party to go to. It's Brazilian dancing and lots of fun. And Jessica's really up for going. She looks positively excited. What about you, Colt? It's my last night, so I want to go back to the hotel room. And I think Colt wants his own party. A party for two, of Brazilian dancing and fun. But the girls deride him and say, oh, you're old and you're a stick in the mud. Come on, have some fun, it will be amazing. And he said, no, I'm going to go back to the hotel room. And then they look at Jess and say, Jessica, do you want to come? And you can tell she really wants to go. And just before she's about to speak, he said, I don't want you to go. I want you to come back with me. And then the girls start arguing with him. And they say, we don't like controlling guys. And he said, well, we're a couple. And they said, well, oh, you're a couple now. 2 minutes ago, you didn't want to tell your mum about her, but suddenly, we're a couple. And Jess is just sitting in the middle of it all, holding her head. And she starts saying, leave me alone. And then she looks at her friends, she looks at Colt, and you can see her ticking it all over in her mind, and she apologises to her friends and says, I'm going to go back to the hotel with Colt. And her friends tell production Jess is making a massive mistake with Colt. And they get ready to leave, and as they walk away, Colt tells us, I'm not sure I had the full stamp of approval from her friends. Colt, they were all cutting their eyes at you as you walked out. If they never see you again, it will be a moment too soon. No, you didn't get a stamp of approval. And so even though I didn't like the way that Colt delivered all of this, like you must come back to the hotel room and we're a couple, and kind of semi-threatening her, I think for Jessica it's probably the right thing to do because it was his last night, and I think if she wanted to go out partying she probably should have said to him first. But Colt said last week, she's everything Larissa isn't. She's young, she's fun, she likes to party. If you know that she's young, fun and likes to party, you need to be prepared to do that with her, and it doesn't seem as if you are at all. And for his part, he could have decided to compromise a bit and say we'll go for an hour or two and then we'll dip out early. But I think he knew by that point none of those girls particularly liked him, and I think he knew as well he'd probably feel out of place doing Brazilian dancing and so on. So as they get into the taxi, instead of saying, oh, thanks for coming back with me, he said, you should have never wanted to go to that party. I can't believe you didn't want to come back with me. Why are you running off your mouth? She's going back with you. She's doing what you wanted her to do. But that's not good enough. She should have said so immediately. And Jessica herself was absolutely fuming. And she said, Colt's so boring. And Colt was saying, I'm not a person that wants to party all night. And as he was trying to talk to her, she said, leave me alone, I don't like controlling people, I don't think that you respect me. And he said, you and I should come first, our relationship should be the priority, we're boyfriend and girlfriend. Colt, you've got to make up your mind, if she's your girlfriend, how doesn't your mum know? You've literally only just met her. But then Jessica got a little bit dirty and she said, your past isn't good. Wait a minute, I thought you knew nothing about Larissa. How interesting. And then he said, I know nothing about your past. For all I know, you might have kids in Brazil. And she said, yes, I have 5 kids. And Colt tells us he's just come out of one crazy relationship and he doesn't want another one. So my take on all of this is that these are 2 completely different people. And I'm doubling down on what I said in my last video. They are chalk and cheese. She's in it for a green card and I think he's in it for free and easy sex. I can't really work out his motives. Because why choose a 26-year-old party girl when you know you don't like to go out, you don't like to party, and your idea of fun is watching cartoons and talking to your best friend, i.e. your mum. You are not the same type of person. This relationship is extremely unlikely to work. And Colt, it seems as if you're repeating everything you did wrong with Larissa. You're making a big hoo-ha about your mum, Debbie, and you're creating a whole narrative before they've even met. And you're letting her know it's a massive deal. My mum. You make a rod for your own back, Colt, you really do. You didn't make any particular effort with her friends. And it seems to me that you're somewhat selfish. You just kind of want what you want out of a relationship and you're not really considering, I should let Jess go. She's a young girl. It's not going to work, forget about it. But the free and easy access to sex is more than enough to keep you there in a relationship which you can see right from the outset is not right. So guys, tell me what you think in comments down below. We can tell already that she's not an easygoing, chilled out girl. She's quite a moody character when she wants to be. And already in the infancy of their relationship, she's saying, don't talk to me, leave me alone, leave me alone. Doesn't bode well at all. So do put your comments down below. You know I love reading them. I'll respond to as many as I can. And that's everything. I'm out of here. Whatever you're doing, I hope you have a fantastic night. You've been listening to Ebird Online. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for listening. You've been listening to Ebird Online. Ciao for now.